Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Akanksha. So, here today I will be talking about the current affairs, which falls under the economic section. So, before I proceed further, I want to tell you a few things. First thing, I want to know whether my screen and my voice both are clear or not. Okay.
Yes, it's
So,
clear.
yeah, okay. So before I proceed, I want to tell you few things before you target your economic section, especially when it comes to current affairs, you need to know few things in the beginning itself. Suppose this is economics, right? So economics has many pillars. The first pillars here, you're going to study about the GDP, and then LPG, basically all the basic things, right? Another will be monetary policy. Here you will be studying about the banking and the finance, and then the capital market, etc. Third pillar, here you will be studying about the fiscal policy. Now, under fiscal policy, you have to study about budget, taxation, subsidiary, deficit, etc. Then the fourth pillars, this will deal about the international market, for example, BOP, balance of payment, then CAD, current account deficit, and so on. Then we have actually the sector of economy, that is another pillar. Here you will be studying about agriculture, NSME, and so on. And then we are also having another pillars which deals with the infrastructure, where you will be studying about the transport, and then energy, and so on. So these are the pillars of the economics. So when you are uh, studying economic, make sure that you study each and everything according to the pillar, so that your preparation will be easy. Now, talking about the today's aspect. So today I will be mainly talking about the fiscal policy. Okay. And before I proceed, I want to tell you one thing. Since this class is mainly focusing on the current affairs, so there will be chance that I will not be giving the detail about the basic concept, maybe the basic terminology. So if you are clear with those concepts, very good. And suppose if you do not have any idea, better you can follow your own resource or your study material. And if you want me to make a specific video on that particular topic, you can comment on the comment box section, so that I can make a separate video on that. Because I cannot actually, practically it's not possible to give detail for each and everything in the current affair lecture. So yeah, let's begin. So today I will target to complete fiscal policy and then banking and the monetary policy. Let's see how much we can cover today. So let's start with the fiscal policy. So here we will be studying about the state of Indian economy, and where we are going to study about the slowdown in Indian economy, foreign currency borrowing, and then the 15th Finance Commission. This is very much important for the prelims and mains. Okay. Then we will also study about the statistical system of India. Under statistical system of India, we will be studying about NSO, NSC, and the seventh economic census. Then we will also study about the indirect tax. And under indirect tax, was a scheme, Sabka Vishwas, that we will see in the detail in the coming slides. And then direct tax and direct tax code and disinvestment. So let's begin. So our first topic is slowdown in Indian economy. Okay. So news में क्या था देख लेते हैं एक बारी. So recent economic data indicates that there is a slowdown in Indian economy. Okay. So as per the recent economic data, हमें पता चलता है कि there is a slowdown in Indian economy. अब ये चीजें हमें कैसे पता चलती हैं? So for that we have some facts. Let's see one by one. So basically, number one, there are few things. There are few parameter. After analyzing those parameters, we can say that, okay, our economy is developing, or it is having a growth, or it is slowing down. So number one is the parameter is GDP. Okay. So before I read anything here, what is your homework? Number one, you need to know everything about GDP, difference between GDP and GNP, and then all the things related with GDP, GNP, NNP, NDP. Then GDP is calculated in how many ways? It is calculated in 3 ways: income method, expenditure method, and the product based method. So these are the ways basically. Then GDP is basically, again, there are two parameter: factor cost and then the current price. So all these things you have to actually understand. Otherwise, in prelims examination, they it's actually what to say, it's a very simple topic, but generally a student, they are not able to answer because they get confused, because examiner in UPSC, they have tendency to confuse student. They will give at the market price, at the current fixed price, and something like that, and then student get confused. Then the difference between the GDP and the GNP, whether a person who is earning in the USA, whether that income is a part of GDP or not, something like that, they can confuse you. And another question: suppose if there is an embassy which is some situated in the Western countries or in any part of the countries other than India, then that their income, whether it is a part of GDP or not. So all these things you have to study in a very clear manner. Okay. So yeah, so first thing is GDP. Like, now we got to know in Indian economy, there is a some decline. There is it is the growth is declining. So what are the data that we can? What are the data that are indicating? So number one is GDP. So GDP growth rate at constant price in the recent Q3. So we know that in one fiscal year there are some division. तो उसके basis पे on the basis of October and December, we can see that there is a decline of around 4.7%. See, number is important because they can ask this question in the prelims examination, like कितने % decrease हो रही है, और state service examination में तो बहुत chance है ऐसे question आने का. So yeah, so there is a decline, and what we are following, we are actually assuming or accepting this year 2011 to 12. Earlier it was 2004 to 5. Okay, then there can be a question: who released this GDP, this data? So NSO is the basically a nodal agency that is responsible for releasing these kind of data. Okay, so this is one thing we got to know for the prelims point of view. Number one, yes, our economy is slowing down, and when we see the parameter, so we can see there is a decline for 4.7%, and this is the lowest from the last 7 years. And who released this data? NSO released this data, National Statistical Office. Okay. Okay, so in terms of the quarterly growth, India has lost the tag of fastest growing economy to China, which posted to growth of 6% in the September quarter. Acha, so after seeing this data, India has lost this tag. So again, this is not important. This line is not important for prelims point of view, but mains ke liye important ho jata hai. Okay. Another, what is important, economic survey 2019-20 projected growth for the fiscal year 2021 to 6 to 6.5%. This is again important for the prelims point of view. So maybe they can confuse you while giving the option 5.5 to 6, 7.5 to 8, something like that. So this number is very important for prelims point of view. Okay, ये तो हो गया हमारा एक GDP का जो हमारा slow हो रहा है. Abhi, now we need to know what are the reason behind this. So there are reason, and some people are saying it is this is happening because of the structural problem. Some people are saying this slow growth is happening because of the cyclical problem. But actually, there was an article in the news itself in the month of October, and there was a multiple debate whether Indian economy is falling under the structural slowdown or the cyclical slowdown. So you can expect a question in the mains examination related with these two parameters, but in the prelims examination, at least you have a fair idea what is the structural and what is the cyclical slowdown. So देखो, structural और cyclical बहुत simple है. Cyclical क्या होता है? This is very normal. This is nothing but it is a period of weak economic growth that occurs in regular intervals. So अगर मुझे ऐसे समझाना हो, here I will write cyclical. Here I will write structural. So difference क्या होता है दोनों में? जो cyclical होता है, if any economy is facing under, if there is some decline in the GDP under cyclical structure, so this thing is not having a much concern. Why? Because you must be knowing that कई बार monsoon खराब होता है, कुछ अपने problems होते हैं, तो उसकी वजह से होता है, and that is very common in any economy. So that is not a concerning point of view. But when it comes to the structural, it is very much important. Why? Because structural slowdown is more like a deep rooted phenomena that signify weak economic growth for over a long period of time. So this structural slowdown can happen for the many reason. Maybe for the geopolitical reason. You must be knowing that right now every economy is almost all the good economy. If you can take example of any economy, China का, US का, और किसी का भी, सब अभी global level पे काम चल रहा है. So maybe suppose if India is having a good trade with the USA or China, if something is happening wrong in the China or the USA, so उसका impact India पे भी आएगा. That you have seen in the case of the increased price in the oils and so on. So ये एक रीजन ये हो सकता है. सेकंड हो सकता है जो पॉलिसी that is made by the government and the RBI, उसका भी एक रीजन हो सकता है. तो it's a very deep rooted phenomena and that gives a concern actually. So I hope you are clear with this line, what is the meaning of cyclical and the structure. And okay, so this is one thing. Now let's see what are the areas where we can see that our economy is having a slow growth rate. So one is the investment. अच्छा, अब investment क्या होता है? अभी इसको एक सिंपल वर्ड में समझ लेते हैं, बाद में देखते हैं कि इसका इकोनॉमिक से क्या रिलेशन है. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट सेविंग, सो व्हाट इज सेविंग? Saving is nothing. Suppose if my income is 100 rupees in a month, okay. Now in this 100 rupees income, if I am spending 30 rupees, suppose it's an expenditure, maybe it's a consumption, then 70 rupees will be saving. And now in this 70 rupees, I will be having option whether I will invest or whether I'm going to invest or I'm going to keep it as a saving. So suppose if I'm going for investment, again it can be in the two form. Number one, investment in the investment in the cash form and investment in the fixed capital. Now this fixed capital you must be knowing from your NCRT. What is the meaning of fixed capital? Fixed capital can be land, fixed capital can be machine. Means immediately they will not give you profit, but over a period of time, if you invest in fixed capital, you are going to get lots of benefit. Okay, Acha, why I have created all these drama? I have a reason, so that you will able to understand this next line. So basically, the investment rate as measured by GFCC as percent of GDP is showing a slowdown, showing a decline trend. Okay, now what is this? So basically, हम जो भी इन्वेस्ट करते हैं हमारी कंट्री, पहली बात तो ये जान लो व्हाट इज GFCC. सो GFCC इज नथिंग बट आपकी जो जीडीपी होती है, ठीक है, आपने कितना इन्वेस्ट करा है उस जीडीपी के कंपैरिजन में, वही हमारा GFCC. वो GFCC एक इंडिकेटर है बेसिकली कि आप अपनी जीडीपी की, सपोज अभी इंडिया की जीडीपी 100 रुपीज है फॉर एन एग्जांपल. सो इस 100 में अगर आप 30% इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो just to boom your economy, so that is indicator of GFCC. Okay, it's a very simple thing. So basically हम as per the data, the investment rate as measured by GFCC is showing a decline trend. मतलब we are not investing enough amount in the fixed capital. Okay, so if we are not investing a good amount in the fixed capital, what will happen? So in future, the growth of economy will hamper. The growth in GDP will hamper. Maybe it won't visible in the initial period, but over a long period of time, it is going to be hamper. How? For example, if we are not creating any assets, if we are not investing any manufacturing sector, if we are not investing our money to create more asset or to area which can give lots of benefit in the economy, for example, which can create lots of asset, which can create lots of employment, which generate lots of money. So definitely over a long period of time, our economy or our GDP is going to be slow down or is going to be decline. So this is not a new phenomena. Even our like even in the 2012 and 13 there was a news that there is a possibility in future that the India's GDP is going to be declined because there is a less investment when it comes to the fixed capital. So चलो अभी देख लेते हैं स्लाइड में क्या लिखा है. So GFCC is essentially net investment which measure the net increase in fixed capital. वही जो मैंने बताया कि fixed capital क्या है. It is a component of the expenditure method of calculating GDP. So like I told you, GDP के 3 method होते हैं calculate करने के. One is income, another is expenditure, and the third is the production method. So all these things, this is your homework. इसको एक बारी पढ़ लेना. Next है, the fixed investment rate has started declining sharply since 2011 and 12, and finally there was a plateau, मतलब बीच में थोड़ा सही हुआ था, and again it is declining from 2017 to 17-18 onward. तो ये सारे data you can use in your mains examination, but for your prelims examination, what is important? You need to know what is the meaning of GFCC, number one. Okay, talking about the another aspect. So saving declined from 32.7% in 2011 to 29.3% in 2018. The decline in saving rate is because of the economy is experiencing a declining wage growth. अब ये जो wages growth है, this can, you must be knowing, recently there was a bill in the parliament that was related with the code of wage. Here they were talking about to increasing in the number of wages under Manrega, and there was certain relaxation when it comes to the corporate tax. So again, since I'm dealing with current affairs, so I cannot cover what was the code of wage bill that happened that was passed in the parliament. So these thing is your homework. एक बारी पता कर लेना. So saving is also one thing. Then the most important thing, total factor productivity. So total factor productivity क्या है? It is a ratio of total output and weighted average of input. So what is TFP? So it is nothing. It is the total output GDP का जो भी है upon input, and this input will comes under the labor plus capital. Okay, so it is a higher TFP implies higher growth with the same set of the labor and capital employed. तो इस चीज को समझने के लिए आप बस एक चीज समझ लो. There are many countries, okay, even if I'll talk about a countries like China, जिसकी GDP बहुत fast वे में increase हो रही है. So वहां पे भी क्या होता है? अच्छा, एक चीज याद रखना, there are lots of confusion. It is not necessary कि किसी country है, suppose there is a country A, उसकी अगर GDP increase हो रही है, that doesn't mean कि उसका TFP भी increase होगा. So these two things are related, but they're not the same thing. Don't get confused. These are connected, but there are certain variation. GDP generally talks about the total production and the services within the fiscal year, but whereas the total factor productivity, that includes what kind of input you are giving and your capital as well. मतलब कि see, इसके लिए आपको एक आर्टिकल पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Again, if you are interested and if you have time, you can read it. Otherwise, it's okay. There was a very beautiful article and there was a lots of research on that article that happened in the China कि वहां पर GDP तो increase हो रही है, but TFP बहुत down हो रहा है. क्यों? Because TFP is generally talks about the productivity of the employees. मतलब किसी काम को complete करने के लिए अगर हम कोई काम अगर हम 10 दिन में complete करते हैं और 10 लोगों से हम वो काम complete कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आज क्या हो रहा है, number of people are more and we have lots of machines as well. So अभी भी उस काम को complete करने के लिए हम 10 days ले रहे हैं and 20 people are involved in completing those tasks. So here the work is done. So it's not hampering the GDP. Anyhow, you are getting profit when it comes to the GDP. But what about your actually efficiency? What about your it's actually mainly dealing with your efficiency. So how much efficient you are. So this total factor productivity is mainly related with your productivity. It mainly related with your efficiency. और अगर एग्जाम में पूछे ये क्या होता है, so it is nothing but it is the ratio of the total output मतलब GDP for example and the average input. और input में आपका क्या आता है, labor and capital. So एक बारी देख लेना कि TFP क्या है, उससे रिलेटेड आर्टिकल क्या है, and mainly it is important for mains examination. Prelims में maximum what they can ask. So in the prelims maximum they can ask that इंडिया में 2006 में the TFP rate growth rate was 3.5% in 2017. 2016 में TFP rate था 3.5%. 2017 में it was 1.6% and 2018 में it is around 2.4%. Okay, so this number becomes important. Okay, number one. Maybe there can be a question in examination prelims mein कि right now what is the TFP in India? So this number is important. Second, how they can confuse you? Maybe they can confuse you by this statement. In the recent time, our economy is showing a decline growth, and there are various factors. Number one, the total factor productivity is declining since 2016. No, sir, the statement is wrong. Why? Because it is not declining from 2016 onward. Yes, in 2016 it was very much high. Then 17 में कम हुआ था and अभी 18 में फिर से improve हो रहा है. Okay, so this you need to understand. Number one is data and number two the trend. So it is not the curve is not like this. It is having this kind of picture. मतलब ये incline and decline हो रहा है over the period of last 4 years. So this is clear. And what you need to understand for the mains point of view here, कि there is a difference between GDP and the TFP. Don't get confused. There can be a country whose GDP is really good, but when it comes to TFP, maybe there is a declining graph in TFP. Why? I have told you, because it involves your productivity, it involves your efficiency, it involves that how much productive you are for that particular work. Okay, even the countries like China, even they are not having a good TFP. China ko to negative hai since 2016, I guess. Yeah. Sorry, since 2012 onward. So China का number important नहीं है, but एक बार ही समझ लो. Next क्या है? Middle income trap. अच्छा, this is अगर इसे exam के लिए, if you want to remember it for your examination point of view, I think you must be heard about this thing, mid-age crisis, right? So इसको इससे एक बार ही relate करके देख लेना. वो mid income trap क्या है? So basically mid-income trap क्या है? Basically, it refers to the country that have experienced rapid growth and thus quickly reached middle income status. एक है मतलब defined है somewhere around $1,000 to $12,000 per capita, not like per capita income. अगर अभी किसी की $1,000 हो जाती है, for example, something एक इन्होंने benchmark set किया हुआ है. And here I'm talking about the per capita income. Now, it's your job to understand from how we can get per capita income. Like, what are the sources? Can we get per capita income from the NNP or from the GDP or from the GNP? This is your homework. कैसे हम per capita income निकालते हैं? क्या per capita income is equal to the national income? All these things you have to understand, because in prelims examination, there was a question and they can ask you, they can confuse you. So basically, as per the middle income traps. If some countries which is having a rapid growth and then they reach in a middle income status, means where the per capita income of a particular person is ranging around $1,000 to $12,000, but then fail to overcome that income range to further catch up to the developed countries and achieve high income status. ये क्या है मैं ग्राफ में समझा दे रही हूँ. For example, if this is the graph, okay, so there is, so from here I'll start. So suppose some country which is having a very good growth, and finally they will reach in a stage from here, it is a quite difficult for them to come out or to catch up the economy of the developed country. So this phenomena is known in the economics as middle income trap. And India is not the only country. There are many countries which are falling under this condition. Okay. Okay. So this is a relatively new phenomena, first introduced in 2007 by World Bank. Okay. अभी तो ये मिडिल इनकम ट्रैप भी हो गया आपका. थर्ड इज लास्ट इज द ऑटो इंडस्ट्री. So you must be knowing that what is happening in the auto industry, and it is actually the growth of this industry is actually going down, and you must be knowing the different reason. Since this news was in somewhere in around October 2019, so here they didn't mention about the corona impact, but agar recently abhi exam mein question aata hai mains mein, so you can mention about the corona thing as well. You must be knowing now lots of people are working from their home, so they are not using any vehicle, and if they are not using vehicle again, this industry and there will be a chance of declining. Why? Because people will not buy the more vehicles, so automatically it is going to hamper the auto industry. So this corona wala thing you can add, because this news was relatively like purani thi, 2019 mein aaya tha. Abhi you can add this corona thing as well. So there was a multiple crisis. You must be knowing the protest and then mobility reason from the Ola and other companies. There was a multiple news in the past, you must be knowing. So these are the reasons. That's why our economy is declining, or there is a slow growth rate. So one is the investment, another is the saving, then TFP, middle income trap, and auto industry. Now, for prelims point of view, what is important for you? You need to understand, number one, decline growth kitna hai. So yes, it's somewhere around 4.7. Okay. Then who released this data? NSO release करता है. Okay. Fiscal year का economic survey पे अगर हमारी जो growth rate है वो कितनी है? 6 to 6.5% है. This is important. Then you need to understand what is the difference between the cyclical slowdown and the structural slowdown. Then you need to understand what is the GFCC. Okay. Then you have to be very much clear when it comes to the calculation of GDP, like what is the differences in GDP if you want to calculate in terms of the investment and then expenditure and then production, and what are the two kind of GDP, nominal versus real. In nominal में हम current year रखते हैं या फिर base year के price पे रखते हैं. All these things you have to understand, then only you will be able to actually mark the correct answer in your prelims examination. Okay. So moving on, the next topic. Okay, so recently foreign currency borrowing. Okay, so अभी news में क्या था वो देख लेते हैं, उसके बाद I will explain you. So in budget 2019 and 20, the finance minister announced that the government would start raising a part of its gross borrowing program via sovereign bond in external market in external currencies. However, it was not taken up later. तो important क्या है prelims के लिए? Important ये है कि you need to understand what is sovereign bond. Okay. Then external market you must be knowing, like बाहर की जो markets होती हैं outside of India. Then external currencies like other than Indian rupees. Okay, so basically क्या हुआ था, finance minister ने announce किया था in the budget 2019 and 20 that government would start raising a part of its gross borrowing program by a sovereign bond in external market in external currencies. Okay, लेकिन ये चीज लिया नहीं गया. अभी prelims के लिए क्या important यहाँ पे हो जाता है, see rest other thing is important for the mains point of view, इसलिए मैं इस चीज को अभी इतना डिस्कस नहीं कर रही हूँ. So I'm just cutting it here. Pre के लिए what is important? You need to know what is sovereign bond. Okay. Then you need to know like you need to know more detail about the sovereign bond. So sovereign bond अगर हम बात करें, so it's a kind of a bond which is issued by RBI, okay, on the behalf of the government of India. This is clear? Okay. Now, there can be another question कि sovereign bond क्या सिर्फ external currency में issue हो सकता है? नहीं. This can be issued on the both अगर हमारे Indian rupee में भी हो सकता है और external currency में भी हो सकता है. अब external currency में issue करने के क्या फायदे हैं, क्या नुकसान है? This is mainly related with your mains point of view. तो उसको एक बार ही पढ़ लेना, ठीक है? अभी डिटेल में इतना टाइम वेस्ट करने का मतलब नहीं है. So you need to know about the sovereign bond, then who issue, RBI इशू करता है. क्या हमारे पास ऐसे पहले भी बॉन्ड इशू हो चुके हैं? तो यू मस्ट बी नोइंग अबाउट द मसाला बॉन्ड, एंड गवर्नमेंट ने अभी सॉवरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड स्कीम वगैरह भी कुछ लॉन्च की थी बहुत पहले. सो ये सारी चीजें एक बार ही देख लेना कि इनका काम क्या होता है, कैसे होता है, ठीक है? ओके. Next, this is very much important. Okay, 15th Finance Commission. So recently, the 15th Finance Commission submitted its report with the recommendation of the financial year 2021. So this is a 15th Finance Commission. Okay. अब finance commission कितनी report submit करता है, कब करता है, that is not very much important. 2 report submit करनी होती है, ये सब देख लेना, वो important नहीं है. What is important here? So before I go into its recommendation, I would like to tell you कि basically एग्जाम में आपको इसके हिसाब से पढ़ना क्या है. ओके, तो पहली बात तो प्री के लिए आपको ये पढ़ना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, everything related with the finance commission. I think this I have discussed in the polity class as well. कौन सा आर्टिकल है? आर्टिकल 280. ओके, finance commission is a constitutional statutory body. भाई constitutional body है. कितने members होते हैं ये पता कर लो. finance commission का काम क्या होता है? Until unless you will not understand the role of finance commission, how you are going to understand all this recommendation? ये तो वैसी ही बात हुई ना कि आप जबरदस्ती याद कर रहे हो. So you need to understand what is the role of finance commission. So ये जो finance commission होता है basically, इसका main काम क्या होता है? It helps basically to the government to allocate the fund, okay, the revenue collection into center and state. Means this finance commission will give formula to center how to allocate the funds to the states. For example, अभी आपको पता होगा कि हर स्टेट अपना जीएसटी जब भी हमारे पास आता है पूरा कलेक्ट करके, वो पूरा चला गया सेंटर के पास. अब now it's a duty of center to allocate those fund into the states. And how they are going to allocate? For that they have certain formulas. And वो जो formulas होता है उसी को हम इसका recommendation कैसे कहते हैं. वो recommendation क्या है? That we will see now with this slide. Okay. So first, you need to know, you have to understand the difference between the 15th Finance Commission and 14th Finance Commission. See, यहाँ पे there can be multiple questions from prelims and mains. Right now, I will not give much importance on the question which can come into the mains, okay? But थोड़ा थोड़ा आइडिया देती रहूंगी. But prelims में क्या क्या आ सकता है वो बहुत important है. वो उस पे अभी we will be mainly talking. और अगर ज्यादा information चाहिए regarding this slide, so I can make a separate video on this slide itself. Like what are the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission, okay? So अभी के लिए भी समझ लो कि फर्स्ट एक बार कंपेयर कर लेते हैं 14th फाइनेंस कमीशन वर्सेस 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन. सो इन द 14th, ओके, सो 14th फाइनेंस कमीशन को बेसिकली इन्होंने जो सी सपोज अभी देख लो कैसे डिवाइड होता है पैसा. मान लो टोटल सेंटर के पास 100%, 100 रुपीज का कलेक्शन आया, 100 रुपीज इन्होंने टोटल कलेक्ट किया. नाउ दिस 100 रुपीज इज गोइंग टू डिवाइडेड ऑन व्हाट बेसिस. ऐसे तो नहीं होगा ना कि ओके हम they will give 20 rupees on this, 30 rupees on this. No, there will be certain formula on base, and the center is going to follow the same formula. So what is the formula, how they are going to divide? So in the 14th Finance Commission, they have divided on the 4 category. There was 4 कैटेगरी. वो 4 कैटेगरी कौन कौन सी थी? एक था पॉपुलेशन पैरामीटर था, दूसरा पैरामीटर था इनका एरिया, थर्ड पैरामीटर वाज द फॉरेस्ट, and the fourth criteria was the income. So in the 14th Finance Commission, they have divided this money on these 14 on the 4 basic criteria. वो क्या था? पॉपुलेशन में इन्होंने 27.5% एलोकेट किया था कि मतलब अगर टोटल 100 रुपीज है तो अब 100 का 27 आप निकाल लो कितना होता है, उतना उधर जाएगा. 15% विल गोज टू द एरिया, मतलब कितना बड़ा स्टेट है in terms of geographical area. Then forest and ecology, कि that particular state is how much forest area that state is having. So it is a kind of like होता नहीं है कि just to see now all the in all the countries including India, they are working in terms of they are working in terms of increased forest cover of the country. So how a country will ensure this? Just to give some you can say that some kind of profit or some kind of कंपनसेशन, और कह सकते हो थोड़ा सा उनको वो करने के लिए प्राइज मनी के हिसाब से बोलते हैं कि आप जितना फॉरेस्ट कवर बढ़ाओगे उतना आपको सेंटर आपको देगा पैसा इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट. सो एक फॉरेस्ट कवर के लिए भी था. एंड देन इनकम डिस्टेंस. इनकम डिस्टेंस क्या होता है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो इनकम डिस्टेंस क्या होता है? इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग. इनकम डिस्टेंस इज नथिंग. इनकम डिस्टेंस ये होता है कि इन इंडिया राइट नाउ वी हैव 28 states, okay? So suppose this state is the per capita of this state is very high. मान लो यहाँ पे per capita income per person की 200 rupees है, and there will be a certain state जिसकी per capita income 50 है. So what they will do, they will compare with the highest पर कैपिटा इनकम वाले स्टेट से, एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ जिसकी कम है उसको ज्यादा पैसे देंगे, सो दैट दे कैन ग्रो मोर, सो दैट दे कैन डू मोर डेवलपमेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. सो ये सारी चीजें थी. नाउ talking about the current finance commission, 15th finance commission, they have included two more thing, and वो दो चीजें क्या है? एक तो डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस. ठीक है. एंड दूसरा इन्होंने क्या किया था? टैक्स एफर्ट. So these two are the new recommendation. These two are the new parameter. Okay. सो एक क्वेश्चन तो आपका प्रीलिम्स में यही बन जाता है कि when it comes to the devolution of the fund in the state, what are the two new entity? So what are the two new entities? One is the demographic performance and the tax effort. ये clear हो गया? पहला क्वेश्चन तो आप ऐसे सॉल्व कर सकते हो. दूसरा, what can be important? So you can clearly see there is a difference in earlier in population wise they were spending 27.5%. Now it has been reduced from 27.5 to 15%. This you can see. So there is a reduction in terms of population. जो share है उसमें reduction हुआ है. Okay. So population के एरिया में रिडक्शन हुआ है, ठीक है. देन वी विल कंपेयर विद द नेक्स्ट एरिया में. एरिया का भाई सेम है, there is no differences. Now talking about the forest, so earlier it was 7.5%, now they have increased. So yes, in the when it comes to the forest region, yeah, they have given more share. मतलब अब जिस स्टेट में ज्यादा फॉरेस्ट कवर होगा उनको ज्यादा पैसा मिलेगा. So it's a good initiative, fine. Then इनकम डिस्टेंस. सो यहाँ पे क्या है कि पहले 50% था, अभी दिस हैज बीन 40%. सो यू कैन सी देयर इज अ डिक्लाइन. ओके, सो पॉपुलेशन में, okay, let me make a different slide so that it will be more clear for all of you. Okay, I have reason because exam में वो आपसे पूछ सकते हैं कि in which area there is a they had increased the fund and in which area they had decreased the fund. So this is important for prelims point of view. So here I will write 15 finance commission. Here I will write 15 finance commission and then the increase or decrease जो भी होगा, increase or decrease. Okay, then the parameter क्या है हमारे? पैरामीटर है, पहले तो पुराने वाले पैरामीटर देख लेते हैं. वन इज पॉपुलेशन, another is area, third is forest, fourth is income distance, fifth is tax effort, and the last is your demographic performance. Okay, so these are the different. ठीक है, अब हम देख लेते हैं वन बाय वन. सो पॉपुलेशन में 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन में कितना शेयर था? 27.5 था. अभी कितना है पॉपुलेशन में? क्लियरली इट इज अ 15%. सो भाई डिक्रीज हुआ है. यस, पॉपुलेशन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द एलोकेशन ऑफ द फंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन कैटेगरी, यस इट गॉट डिक्रीज. नाउ अनदर इज एरिया. एरिया में क्या था? पहले भी 15 था, अभी भी 15 है. सो इज देयर एनी चेंज? नो चेंज. Perfect. Then talking about the forest, पहले था हमारा 7.5%, now it has been increased to 10%, then again increase. See, number I don't think they will ask in how many percent they have increased, कि भाई कितना परसेंट का increase हुआ है. I think they are not going to ask, but थोड़ा सा अच्छे से पढ़ लोगे तो नंबर भी याद हो जाएगा कि कितने परसेंट increase हुआ है. Income distance पहले 50% था, अभी 45% कर दिया है, तो decrease हुआ है. Now these two different indicators which are newly added, tax effort and then demographic performance. So these two are the new. So in 14th Finance Commission it was not there, but here it is there. So कितना है tax effort का इन्होंने दिया है total 2.5% weightage, and demographic performance का इन्होंने 12.5% दिया है. ठीक है. Now you may have this question कि what is this tax effort, because these two are the new indices. So tax effort क्या है? आप जितना भी tax collect कर रहे हो, मतलब कोई भी स्टेट कितना टैक्स कलेक्ट करे, दैट इज अ टैक्स एफर्ट. टॉकिंग अबाउट इज द डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस. सो नंबर 2 इज डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस. सो डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस कुछ नहीं है. आई एम श्योर यू मस्ट बी नोइंग दिस वर्ड. Total fertility rate. What is total? Now what is total fertility rate? So total fertility rate ये होती है कि मतलब this is mainly related with the women कि एक women अपने like it is the basically a timeline where a lady or a woman can able to give a birth to a child. मतलब वो that particular time range. It can be from 18 to maybe 45 or up to कितना भी हो, तो ये उससे रिलेटेड है. तो why here TFR is important, because इससे पता चलता है कि this particular किसी स्टेट में उनका जो पॉपुलेशन है वो कितनी तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, कितनी तेजी से घट रहा है, समथिंग लाइक दैट. ओके. सो TFR का मेंशन आई थिंक इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में भी था. आप देख लेना कि अभी इंडिया का TFR रेट कितना चल रहा है. On an average, India का TFR rate कितना चल रहा है? I'm not talking about a particular state, but overall. So these are this is all about the 15th Finance Commission. Now, ये सब तो हो गया prelims के लिए. Now I'm sure it is very much easy for you to solve the question related with the weight. प्रीलिम्स में अगर कुछ क्वेश्चन आएगा तो आप कर लोगे, लेकिन अभी चलो देख लेते हैं किस टाइप का क्वेश्चन आपसे वो पूछ सकते हैं एग्जाम में. तो एक तो आपसे ये पूछ सकते हैं क्वेश्चन कि नंबर 1, देयर कैन बी अ क्वेश्चन इन प्रीलिम्स. Recently 15 Finance Commission has recommended few things. So under the new recommendation, do they increase the fund when it comes to the population? No, they have decreased from 27 to 15%. Number 1. Then they can ask this question. Recently they have introduced 2 more entities. What are those 2 entities? Second, they can also confuse you in this way कि अच्छा ये जो 2 नई एंटिटीज आई हैं, मे बी दे कैन कंफ्यूज यू कि इवन इन द 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन देयर वाज अ मेंशन ऑफ द डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस. सो इन दैट वे दे कैन कंफ्यूज यू. ओके. नाउ एक तो ये हो गया व्हेन इट कम्स टू द शेयर. व्हाट इज द अनदर थिंग? सो यू कैन सी फ्रॉम 11th Finance Commission to 15th Finance Commission, this is the graph. So earlier it was 29.5. मतलब see, अगर ये स्टेट है, ये यूनियन है, एंड देन दिस इज द स्टेट्स. सो टोटल अगर इनके पास 100 रुपीज का कलेक्शन हुआ, जो भी ये टैक्स कलेक्ट करते हैं, सो इन दिस 100 हाउ मच मनी दे आर गोइंग टू गिव टू द स्टेट. सो पहले 11th फाइनेंस कमीशन में था 29% ही देंगे, देन इंक्रीज हुआ 30% हो गया, देन 13 फाइनेंस में अगेन 32 हुआ, 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन में 42 था, एंड 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन में they have decreased 1%. Okay, so this is important. In 14 finance commission they have given 42% money will be allocated, 42% of share will be allocated to the state. But in the 15, the recent finance commission, they said that now it is going to be lower down from 42 to 41. Now you can ask this question, or you may have this question कि ये 1% का decrease क्यों किया है? So ये decrease इसलिए किया है, you must be knowing recently the state Jammu and Kashmir, it is no longer a state, it comes under a UT. Jammu and Kashmir plus Ladakh. And now this 1% share, which they have cut down from this 42, this 1% share is uh, going to give is given to these two UT so that they can develop in a better way. So I hope you are clear in everything. Now, going back, तो ये सारी चीजें एक्सप्लेनेशन के लिए थी. अब स्लाइड में क्या लिखा है इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बस एक बार ही पढ़ देती हूँ. की रिकमेंडेशन क्या है, ऐसे पूछ लेंगे. रिडक्शन इन द स्टेट ऑफ शेयर इन डिविजिबल पूल ऑफ सेंट्रल टैक्सेस टू 41 टू प्रिवेलिंग 42%. जैसा कि मैंने बताया, पहले 42 था, नाउ इट हैज कम डाउन फ्रॉम 42 टू 41. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि वो 1% दे आर गोइंग टू कीप इट फॉर देमसेल्फ. नो, दिस 1% दे आर गोइंग टू गिव जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड लद्दाख. ओके, लिखा भी है. Reintroduce performance-based incentive to state on two parameters, demographic performance and taxation effort. So see, maybe they can confuse you. The recent two parameter that was in the news in the 15th Finance Commission, demographic performance and the taxation effort, it is based on which initiative? So it is based on the performance-based initiative. Now you may have this question, what is the meaning of performance-based incentive? Sorry. So it is nothing, as you know, demographic performance. Demographic performance is something which is related with the TFR. Now what is TFR? Total fertility rate. TFR क्या बताता है कि एक particular like a woman in a particular अपने जो भी उसका एक लाइफ स्पैन होता है उसमें वो कब तक she can produce a baby. So उससे related होता है. तो obviously that is directly related with the demography. That is directly related with the कि उस state में कितना population बढ़ रहा है. So मतलब this is directly related कि अगर कोई state अपने state में population control करता है, so yes, they are doing something great in that particular state. So they are going to award them on the basis of the performance incentive. Number 2, taxation effort. कोई भी state है, how much they are doing when it comes to the collection of the tax, how much effort they are paying to collect the tax. So this thing you can quote in the good governance as well. Agar mains mein question aata hai related with the good governance, so you can quote this line, and it's a very beautiful thing that nowadays even the state is focusing on the various scheme. They are promoting or they are actually giving a performance based incentive to the state on the basis of good governance. An example क्या हो सकता है? टैक्सेशन एफर्ट, कि भाई कौन सा स्टेट कितने अच्छे तरीके से टैक्स कवर करता है. अभी जो टैक्सेशन का एफर्ट है, इसका एक बार अच्छे से पढ़ लेना कि जो टैक्स होते हैं, यू मस्ट बी नोइंग टैक्स कितने टाइप के होते हैं. एक डायरेक्ट होता है, एक इनडायरेक्ट होता है. डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस के अंदर क्या क्या आते हैं, इनडायरेक्ट में कौन कौन से टैक्सेस आते हैं, कौन कौन से टैक्सेस में स्टेट का कंट्रोल होता है, कौन कौन से टैक्सेस में सेंटर का कंट्रोल होता है. ये सारी चीजें एक बार ही पढ़ लेना, ठीक है. देन rationalize centrally sponsored scheme and center and state should fully reversal there on the budget borrowing, ठीक है. An overreaching fiscal framework of center and state on the line FRBM Act, ये बहुत important था, इसको एक बार ही पढ़ लेना. To lay down accounting, budgeting, auditing standard to follow at the level of the government. ये सब छोड़ दो अभी, इसका इतना मतलब नहीं है. अच्छा, एक चीज और है, एक होमवर्क ही समझ लो. When this 15th Finance Commission, when they have submitted their report, now when this report came into the picture, now lots of South Indian states, especially Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, they criticized this their recommendation badly. And why they criticized? Iska reason, I know the reason. I'm not going to tell you because that will actually, there should be something now so that you can also do some homework. So these states are not happy with the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission. वो क्यों है, that you need to understand. And if you know the recommendation, you can comment on the comment section. Let's see whether you are able to actually pick up the right answer or not. So उसका उन्होंने काफी ज्यादा criticism किया है, but Finance Commission, they are not, obviously you must be knowing it's a central body, so they are not doing any partiality to any state. So if they have did something wrong with these four states, even they come up with the idea to give to actually give them incentive as well. So वो सब क्या है, where the South Indian state are basically they are having a loss when it comes to the 15 Finance Commission recommendation, and where these states are getting a profit. These all the things you have to study कि वो कौन से areas हैं. Again, that is important for the mains examination. That's why I'm not wasting much time. So I hope this is clear. So ये स्लाइड आई थिंक क्लियर हो चुकी है, कहाँ पे इंक्रीज है कहाँ पे डिक्रीज है, सब कुछ है. ठीक है, मूविंग ऑन. अच्छा, just give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, statistical system of India. Okay, National Statistical Office, NSO, recently it was in news. क्यों था अभी देखो. Recently the government has decided to merge CSO and the National Sample Survey Office, which is nothing but NSSO, under the Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation. Okay, so recently बस इतना ही न्यूज में है, इससे आगे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. So recently government has decided to merge CSO and NSSO to form cumulatively to form National Statistical Office under the Ministry of Statistic and Program Implementation. Okay, तो ये है न्यूज. एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि recently government has decided to merge this office with this office. This work under which ministry? So maybe they will give you multiple options, and there they will confuse you. So just remember, it comes under the Ministry of Statistic and Program Implementation. That's it. Now NSO के बारे में थोड़ा बहुत जान लो, क्या है NSO. So basically NSO headed by a Director General. It is responsible for conduct of a large-scale sample survey in diverse fields on all India basis. अच्छा, ये data collect करती है. सिंपल सी बात है, स्टैटिस्टिकल ऑफिस, तो उनका काम क्या होता है? स्टैटिक्स मींस व्हाट? नथिंग बट डेटा. सो ऑब्वियसली दे आर गोइंग टू कलेक्ट द डेटा. अब डेटा कलेक्ट करने का फायदा क्या है? दिस इज अगेन दिस कैन हेल्प यू इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. डेटा कलेक्ट करने से you can get an idea about that particular you can get an idea about the geographical area, then what kind of people are living there, they are engaged in what kind of occupation, then related with their socio-economic aspects. So all these things are important, and that's why they are doing the survey. तो ये हो गया. अब इसमें क्या है, ये बेसिकली ये स्लाइड देख लो, इससे ज्यादा इजी हो जाएगा समझना. So this is the Minister of Planning and Program Implementation. इसके बेसिकली 3 पार्ट थे: NSO, NSSO, then the CSO and the Computer Center. So basically again ये divided था different part में. Now this all 4 division, which is these all 4 division, Field Operation Division, Survey Design and Research Division, Data Processing Division, and Coordination and Publication Division, etc. They all will fall under the NSO. And NSO is what? Nothing. They are just trying to merge CSO plus NSSO. Under which ministry? अंडर मिनिस्टर ऑफ प्लानिंग एंड प्रोग्राम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन। ये पूरा फैक्चुअल बेस्ड क्वेश्चन होगा, इससे ज्यादा कोई क्वेश्चन पूछेगा नहीं। मेंस में मैक्सिमम डायरेक्टली तो नहीं पूछने वाला, इनडायरेक्टली मैक्सिमम दे कैन आस्क क्वेश्चन की like what is the role and what is the objective of doing survey. So पता होना चाहिए कि सर्वे क्यों करता है, so that they can make a better policy, they can formulate a better policy, so that they can get a fair idea about the socio-economic condition of that particular area. वहाँ पे जो उनका main occupation क्या है, like वहाँ पे लोग कितने लोग किस काम में involved हैं, ये सारी चीजें हो जाती हैं. Okay, next is National Statistical Commission. Okay, so abhi National Statistical Commission was in the news. Abhi wo news में क्या था देख लेते हैं एक बारी. The government released draft National Statistical Commission bill, which aims at empowering NSC to become a nodal body for all core statistics in country. Okay. It has provisions such as the composition of NSC statistical audit, independent secretariat for the commissioner, etc. बकवास है, इतना बस समझो, इतना बस important है कि अभी गवर्नमेंट ने रिलीज किया है एक ड्राफ्ट बिल रिलीज किया है रिलेटेड विद द नेशनल स्टैटिस्टिकल कमीशन, जो कि एनएससी को एक नोडल एजेंसी बना देगी एंड दे आर गोइंग टू मॉनिटर ऑल द core statistic area in the country. NSC क्या है? It's a apex advisory body on the statistical matter, but its suggestion are not binding on the government. तो देखो, एक important चीज है, whenever any body is a advisory body, okay, so one thing you can clearly understand, their recommendation is never going to be binding on the government. So they can suggest they can binding on government, so they can recommend their views, they can suggest lots of ideas, but their recommendation can never be binding on the government. Okay, now हमारे मतलब इसका काम क्या है, तो हमारे जैसे कि जीडीपी से रिलेटेड कुछ काम है एंड इंडस्ट्री डेटा, बजटरी ट्रांजेक्शन डेटा, ये सारी चीजें जो भी होती हैं दे आर गोइंग टू मॉनिटर. कॉम्पोजिशन क्या है? कॉम्पोजिशन में बेसिकली कुछ नहीं है. There will be a chairperson, then there will be four person, then एक CEO होगा. Okay, this is the composition. There will be a chairperson, four people who will be the eminent statistician or the social scientist, and they will be the part-time member. They are not the full-time member, they will be the part-time member, and then there will be a CEO. Okay, so that's it about the NSO. So NSO में भी NSC में क्या है? So there was a bill recently and they talked about to establish a commission which is going to be a nodal or the apex, which is going to be a nodal body or the apex body on what? On all the statistical core area which deal with the statistic matter, and they are going to be constituted every in 5 years. Okay, can their recommendation is going to be binding? No भाई, उनके recommendation कोई binding नहीं होंगे. Composition में क्या है? तो एक chairperson होगा, 4 members होंगे. They will be part-time members, which is nominated by the they are going to be nominated actually, and then there will be a CEO. That's it. इससे ज़्यादा कुछ है important नहीं इसमें. Okay, next है 7th economic census. So recently, Delhi is the 26th state where the survey has been launched, while the process is already on the 20th state and 5 union territories starting since June 2019. तो इम्पॉर्टेंट क्या है आपको ये पता होना चाहिए, व्हाट इज इकोनॉमिक सेंसस, ठीक है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये पता होना चाहिए। दूसरा क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है कि ये जो इकोनॉमिक सेंसस है ये पहली बार हुआ है लॉन्च? नो, दिस इकोनॉमिक सेंसस वाज ऑलरेडी हेल्ड इन 1978 में हो चुका था, ठीक है। इसका काम क्या है? सो इट इज गोइंग टू बेसिकली प्रोवाइड अ वैल्यूएबल इंसाइट ऑन द geographical reason, बेसिकली जो जोग्राफिकल रीजन ऑफ द इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज, मतलब होता नहीं है जैसे कि यू मस्ट बी नोइंग कि इंडिया में कुछ इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर होते हैं, लाइक द पर्टिकुलर एरिया जहाँ पे इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी बहुत ज्यादा तरीके से होती है। सो देन उनका ओनरशिप पैटर्न and how many people are engaged, all these things. So इससे related census will give the proper idea. अभी देख लेते हैं census में क्या क्या था, मतलब इससे related और भी चीजें क्या हैं। So news में क्या था? For the first time an IT-based digital platform is being used for data capture, validation, report generation and dissemination. Okay, पहली बार ऐसा हो रहा है कि कोई IT-based digital platform is being used for what? For data capture, validation and report generation. इसका फायदा क्या है? I will tell you afterward. Now, this will ensure high accuracy and data security. Now, you must be knowing that whenever you do anything with the use of IT-based digital platform or with the help of technology, there are the chance there will be more transparency, more accuracy and more security, right? क्योंकि मैनुअल कलेक्शन में हमेशा गलतियां हो जाती है, but when it comes to the digital when you use some digital based technology, it will be easy. Now, who is implementing? So this is basically is done by Ministry of Statistical Program Implementation along with Common Service Center. One second. Okay. So let's see ये क्या है, अच्छे से देखते हैं. So अच्छा, so basically simple है. एक seventh economic census was in the news. Why it was in the news? क्योंकि recently दिल्ली ने अपना economic survey किया है on the basis of economic census. Okay, फायदा क्या है इसका? This the profit is it can give the valuable insight into the geographical spread, basically geographical area जहाँ पे economic activities हो रही है, what kind of people are engaged, what kind of work is going to done, what kind of economic activities are involved in that particular area. तो दिल्ली ने ऐसा एक सेंसस किया है just to monitor the economic activities. Okay, number 2 question, क्या ये पहली बार हुआ है? नहीं, पहले 1978 में स्टार्ट हो गया था. अभी कितने प्रोसेस में है, ऐसे कौन अभी कितने स्टेट्स प्रोसेस में है? सो ऑलरेडी 20 स्टेट्स एंड 5 यूटीज आर ऑलरेडी इन द प्रोसेस. ओके, सो ये क्या है बेसिकली? सो इट इज द IT बेस्ड डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म है. दिस सेंसस इज बेसिकली वर्किंग ऑन द IT बेस्ड डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म एंड इनका काम क्या होता है? टू कैप्चर डेटा और टू कैप्चर डेटा, टू वैलिडेशन और टू रिपोर्ट जनरेशन. तो पहले तो वो डेटा कैप्चर करते हैं, रिपोर्ट बनाते हैं और जो भी देखते हैं कि कैसे हो रहा है. फायदा क्या है? व्हाट इज द एडवांटेज? इट गिव्स हाई एक्यूरेसी एंड इट गिव्स इंश्योर इट नॉट ओनली इट इंश्योर द हाई एक्यूरेसी बट इट इंश्योर द data security at the same time. Now, what is important for the prelims point of view? कि ये कौन launch कर रहा है basically? So basically, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation along with the Common Service Center, जो कि एक जो कि काम करती है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड आईटी के अंडर। सो इन दोनों के कोलैबोरेशन में this economic census basically रिलीज होता है। So I hope everything is clear here कि क्या क्या चीजें हैं, क्यों न्यूज में था। नाउ क्वेश्चन आ सकता है अगेन कि recently 7th economic census was in the news, so it is related with what? Question option number 1, it is related with the uh, related with the checking the per capita income of the state. Maybe they can frame a question like this. Okay, so in exam you may find this such kind of question like recently Delhi was in the news. They have it has conducted the 7th economic census. So basically the idea of conducting this census was what? Number 1, this census basically deals with the per capita income of the state. Okay, number 2, they can give you this option. Okay, this census is basically used for uh, to uh, to see the corona cases in Delhi itself. See, I'm not able to find the real better option, बस ऐसे ही दे रही हूँ. Third, maybe they can confuse this census is released by NSO or CSO, something like that. Fourth, this was the first census since independence, something like that. ऐसा करके वो आपको confuse कर सकते हैं. So अभी आपको पता चल गया कि पहली बार नहीं है, किससे related है, आपको पता है. Who release ये भी पता है. What is the reason ये भी पता है. पहली बार हुआ है, नहीं पहली बार नहीं हुआ है, ये भी पता है. तो एग्जाम में गलत करके मत आना. Moving on. अच्छा, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. देखो, ये जो टॉपिक है ना, ये मैं अभी बिल्कुल भी डिटेल में नहीं पढ़ाने वाली. क्यों? न्यूज में क्या था? क्योंकि दिस इज रिलेटेड विद द जीएसटी. यू नो जीएसटी कौन से टैक्स के अंदर आता है, ठीक है. नाउ दिस with 66.79 lakh new dealers registered under the GST tax, GST network has decided to make Aadhaar authentication or physical verification mandatory for new dealers from January 2020 to check malpractices. ये न्यूज में था. अब इस चीज को समझने के लिए सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए. What you need to understand, first you do this exercise, then only we will jump into this slide. What is the difference between direct tax versus indirect tax? Okay, GST के अंदर कौन कौन से taxes आते हैं. Then GST is collected by whom? All these things you need to know. Then only we will be able to understand this slide in a detailed manner. News में तो बस इतना था कि उन्होंने क्या बोला है कि अभी आपको आधार का वेरिफिकेशन मैंडेटरी कर दिया गया है फ्रॉम जनवरी 2020 से टू चेक मैल प्रैक्टिसेस. इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है न्यूज में, बट इसके अंदर बहुत से क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, अंडर जीएसटी हाउ मेनी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस was included, or what are the taxes which is not a part of the GST. All these things they may confuse you. So ये हम देख लेंगे नेक्स्ट क्लास में, जब एक बारी आप इसका आप पूरे अच्छे से आप पढ़ के आओगे कि भाई जीएसटी के अंदर क्या क्या आता है. ठीक है. Next is, so this slide I'm just keeping it as a homework so that in the coming classes we can read it in a detailed manner. क्योंकि न्यूज के हिसाब से तो बस इतना आया है. एग्जाम में क्या पूछ लेंगे, जीएसटी के बारे में पूछ लेंगे कि जीएसटी क्या है. So basically they can confuse you whether GST is a direct tax or indirect tax. भाई indirect tax तो सबको पता है. और फिर देयर कैन बी अ क्वेश्चन लाइक जीएसटी में कौन कौन से टैक्स मतलब इंक्लूड कर लिया है, कौन कौन से नहीं इंक्लूड किया है, ये सारी चीजें आ जाएंगी। फिर सेस क्या होता है, फिर इससे रिलेटेड और भी चीजें आ जाती हैं, वो अभी हम नेक्स्ट स्लाइड मतलब नेक्स्ट क्लास में देखेंगे। नेक्स्ट है सबका विश्वास। एज द नेम सजेस्ट, विश्वास मतलब सबको ट्रस्ट में लेना है। Recently, सबका विश्वास लेगेसी डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन स्कीम 2019 was notified. क्या है भाई? So basically this news, this सबका विश्वास लेगेसी डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन स्कीम, मैं ऐसे लिख दे रही हूँ, सबका विश्वास, ओके, लेगेसी डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन स्कीम, सबका विश्वास, okay, this is सबका विश्वास, okay. This was basically in the news. Question क्या आएगा? Recently, this news was in the this topic was in the news, or this scheme was in the news. It is related to what? So basically, this dispute resolution scheme was in the news with the objective of the settling pending dispute of the service tax and central excise and so basically, एक second, हाँ. So this scheme, सबका विश्वास, ये न्यूज में थी क्यों? With two objective, number one, to dispute resolution, and then another is amnesty. Amnesty क्या होता है? It is nothing but a kind of mercy. ठीक है, अगर आपने अभी तक कोई टैक्स नहीं दिया है तो अभी आप आके खुद से दे दो, आपके लिए कुछ आपको अवार्ड दे दिया जाएगा, थोड़े से रिलैक्सेशन दे देंगे, समथिंग लाइक दैट। तो बस एग्जाम के लिए भी इतना समझ लो कि सबका विश्वास legacy dispute resolution scheme news में थी. It is related mainly, it deals with mainly two things, dispute resolution and the amnesty. Dispute resolution क्या था? तो service tax and central excise tax, जो कि अभी this is a part of GST, so वहाँ पे बहुत से pending cases बचे थे, बहुत सी problems थी, so उसके dispute से related ये एक नई स्कीम बनाई गई है। और एग्जाम के लिए बस इतना ही काफी है, इससे ज्यादा इससे क्वेश्चन आएगा नहीं। बाकी मेंस के लिए मे बी कुछ पूछ लें, अभी तो समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या दे कैन आस्क, बट इतना समझ लो कि दिस इज मेनली रिलेटेड विद द डिस्प्यूट, दिस इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ स्कीम which deals with the dispute resolution and this works on the amnesty। and वो क्या होता है? It's a kind of thing कि आप थोड़े से relaxation दे दो सामने वाले को, अगर सामने वाला खुद ही आके बोलता है कि हाँ यहाँ पे कुछ उससे डिफॉल्ट हुए हैं when it comes to paying the tax। Okay, so let me check अभी कितने स्लाइड्स बाकी हैं। डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड, okay, okay, fine। So next topic is direct tax code। So news में क्या था? Recently, the draft legislation on the new draft direct tax code was submitted by the task force headed by Akhilesh Ranjan to the government of India। ठीक है, name is not important। So direct tax code is an attempt by the government of India to simplify the direct tax law in India। So this direct tax code, it is related with the simplifying so direct code tax is a kind of attempt by the government to simplifying the direct tax law in India। So ये करेगा काम कैसे करेगा? It will revise, consolidate and simplify the structure of the direct tax law in India into a single legislation। Okay, when implemented, it will replace the Income Tax Act and other direct tax legislation like wealth tax। इतना तो जैसे अभी पता था इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स में हमने सब कुछ इंक्लूड करके जीएसटी का पार्ट बना दिया था, राइट? ऐसे ही अभी ये लोग बात कर रहे हैं कि दे आर गोइंग टू ब्रिंग अ डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड। हियर व्हाट दे आर गोइंग टू डू, दे आर गोइंग टू simplifying द डायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉ इन इंडिया. सो डायरेक्ट टैक्स और इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स में क्या डिफरेंसेस है, डायरेक्ट टैक्स में क्या क्या आता है, उसको दे आर गोइंग टू मर्ज टुगेदर एंड सो दैट इट विल बी इजी टू कलेक्ट द टैक्सेस. सो देखो अभी क्या क्या है. तो डायरेक्ट टैक्स के एग्जांपल्स क्या है इंडिया में, एक तो इनकम टैक्स है, एक कॉर्पोरेशन टैक्स है, कैपिटल गेन टैक्स है, प्रोफेशन टैक्स है, प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स है, रोड टैक्स एंड स्टैम्प ड्यूटी है. इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस के क्या क्या थे, जीएसटी है, वैट है, अभी इसी का पार्ट है, कस्टम ड्यूटी, एक्साइज ड्यूटी, सिक्योरिटी ट्रांजेक्शन, डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टैक्स एंड द सेल टैक्स. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स. सो एग्जाम में प्रीलिम्स में देखो क्या हो गया ना कि प्रीलिम्स में दे विल नॉट आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन कि मतलब ये सब ये तुमसे नहीं पूछेंगे कि डायरेक्ट टैक्स में क्या था, कितने परसेंट ग्रोथ था, कितने परसेंट नहीं था. ये सारी चीजें प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से मैक्सिमम व्हाट दे कैन आस्क कि रिसेंटली डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड वाज इन द न्यूज, इट इज रिलेटेड विथ व्हाट. सो ऑप्शन यू नो इट इज रिलेटेड विथ टू सिंप्लीफाइंग द डायरेक्ट टैक्स इन लॉज इन इंडिया. एक तो ये आंसर आपका निकल गया. दूसरा आपका क्वेश्चन ये बन सकता है कि व्हाट आर द टैक्सेस दैट कम्स अंडर द डायरेक्ट टैक्स. सो दिस यू नीड टू नो कौन कौन से टैक्सेस डायरेक्ट टैक्स में आते हैं, कौन कौन से इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स में आते हैं. ये तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि जब आप इकोनॉमिक्स का वो पिलर पढ़ते हो विच डील विद द फिस्कल पॉलिसी एंड इन द फिस्कल पॉलिसी विच टॉक्स अबाउट द टैक्सेशन where you have direct tax and indirect tax and so many things. So here it is important to know what comes under direct tax, what comes under indirect tax, what are the laws related with the direct tax, what are the law related with the indirect tax, like who is collecting taxes, like income tax कौन collect करता है. ये सारी चीजें आपको पढ़ना important हो जाता है. So if you have any doubt when it comes to the collection of the direct tax or indirect tax or laws related with the direct tax or indirect tax, what you can do, you can basically you can write in a comment box section that you want a separate video on this so that I can make a separate video so that it will be easy for you. Okay. Okay, ये सारी चीजें important नहीं है उस तरीके से प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. ये तो सबको पता है कि फ्रॉम लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स डायरेक्ट टैक्स में बहुत ज्यादा हम कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. देन देयर इज अ टर्म दैट इज नोन एज अ टैक्स बॉयंसी, अगेन अ वेरी स्टैटिक टर्म्स. ये क्या है इसे एक बार ही पढ़ लेना, बट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है इसलिए मैं इसको इतना इंपॉर्टेंस यहाँ पे दे नहीं रही हूँ. नेक्स्ट, डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट. एज द नेम सजेस्ट, डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट मतलब आपको एक बड़ी सी आपकी प्रॉपर्टी है, आप उसको छोटे छोटे पार्ट में डिवाइड कर दोगे. ठीक है. So center has given in principle approval for the strategic disinvestment of the government shareholding along with the management control to the 5 PSU such as BPCL, CCI, etc. तो अभी क्या बात हुई, यू मस्ट बी नोइंग कि गवर्नमेंट क्या है कि वो बहुत से उसकी जो पब्लिक एक तो कंपनी, एक तो पब्लिक गवर्नमेंट की कंपनीज होती हैं पब्लिक सेक्टर एंड दूसरा होता है प्राइवेट सेक्टर, और एक होता है पीपीपी मतलब पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप होता है. तो इसका तो एक बेसिक डिफरेंस समझना इंपॉर्टेंट है. पब्लिक मतलब कि जिसमें गवर्नमेंट का शेयर 50% से ज्यादा हो, प्राइवेट जहां पे प्राइवेट प्लेयर का शेयर 50% से ज्यादा हो, पीपी मतलब दोनों का शेयर हो. ठीक है. तो ये होता है पब्लिक सेक्टर, प्राइवेट सेक्टर और पीपीपी. अब इसमें कौन कौन सी कंपनीज आती हैं ये आप देख लेना. आप पब्लिक सेक्टर में हमारे महारत्ना एंड देन नवरत्ना, जिसमें भी हमारी कोल गेल ये सारी चीजें आती हैं पब्लिक सेक्टर कंपनी, जिसको पीएसयूज भी बोलते हैं, और भी बहुत सी चीजें हैं, वो देख लेना एक बारी. सो अभी इन्होंने जो इनकी पब्लिक सेक्टर इन्वेस्टमेंट है, एंटरप्राइज मतलब जो कंपनीज है जैसे कि पीएसयूज जो इनकी बीपीसीएल सीएससीआई है, इसके डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट की बात कर रही है. तो जो भी पीपल हु आर graduated in basically people who have done their BTech basically in civil, electrical, electronics and mechanical, ये सारी basically these are the core branches. and आपको पता होगा कि आपके प्लेसमेंट में आपकी पब्लिक पीएसयूज आती थी जिसके लिए बहुत ज्यादा क्रेज होता है, especially if you have done your BTech in in these 4 branches, like you have generally लोगों को इंटरेस्ट होता है कि वो इसमें जॉब ले, और गेट का एक एग्जाम भी कंडक्ट कराती है, जिसमें गेट के थ्रू अगर आपके मार्क्स अच्छे आते हैं, so either you can take admission into IITs or NITs, or you can directly get a job under these PSUs. So okay, so ये PSUs जो है नवरत्ना, महारत्ना, जिसमें भेल, गेल, ये सारी कंपनीज आती हैं, इसमें अपने ही अलग फायदे होते हैं, बट प्रॉब्लम क्या है, when it comes to the employment, आपको बहुत से प्रॉफिट होते हैं, but when it comes to the government point of view, these companies generally they are running into the losses. क्यों लॉस में है? They have their reasons. क्योंकि they are mainly a public sector company. So इनका काम, इनका motive, their motive is not to generate the profit, but their motive is to give employment. Their motive is to create assets. So that is the reason most of the time the government-owned companies, they generally they face lots of loss. Okay, so government क्या करती है to come out with those losses, they do disinvestment. Disinvestment कैसा होता है कि they will allocate certain share, they will basically sell their certain share to the private players. So उससे जब public and the private दोनों मिलके काम करेंगे तो थोड़ा कंपनी को आप फायदे में लेके जा सकते हो. तो ये सारा मतलब इसके पीछे का लॉजिक है. अभी क्या है, The Department of Investment and Public Asset Management under Ministry of Finance is the nodal agency for disinvestment. अब ये जो disinvestment वो करता कौन है? So disinvestment करता कौन है? तो एक department होता है DIPM, which is known as the Department of the Investment and Public Asset Management, that comes under the Finance Ministry. So they are it is the nodal agency. मतलब apex में ये होता है. The Union Cabinet approved the new strategic disinvestment policy, under which the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management under the Minister of Finance has been made the nodal department. बकवास जो पहले पढ़ा था. अच्छा, लेकिन अब बात क्या आती है कि who will identify, ठीक है, अब DIPM है हमारे पास, ठीक है, DIPM क्या है? Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. This is the nodal agency for the disinvestment. ठीक है, अभी हमें वो disinvestment हमें करना है जो भी हमारी public sector entities हैं, enterprise हैं. अब problem क्या है? क्या ये अकेले decide करेगा? नहीं. They along with the Niti Aayog, okay, they both are going to identify jointly कि कौन सी हमें PSU को disinvest करना है, so that we can get a better profit, or so that we can actually इनको हम loss से profit में लेके आए. पहले भी बहुत सी companies का disinvestment हो चुका है. Now this is your homework to understand or to keep it in your mind कि कौन कौन सी पहले government की companies से जिसका disinvestment हो चुका है. Okay. DIPM secretary would now co-chair of the inter-minister group on disinvestment along with the secretary of administrative minister concerned. ये important नहीं है, ठीक है, कि कौन chair है, कौन वो है. This is not important. Okay. अभी क्या है कि पहले 65,000 करोड़ था बजट, अभी इन्होंने कुछ 2 लाख 2,10,000 के अराउंड कर दिया है, रेस कर दिया है फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस बजट. अगेन वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है आपके लिए? यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज PSU, व्हाट इज PSC एंड व्हाट इज पब्लिक प्राइवेट कंपनीज. देन दोनों को ऑपरेट कौन करता है? अंडर PSU व्हाट आर द मेन महारत्ना एंड नवरत्ना. देन व्हाई गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग दिस इज मेनली फॉर द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. क्या है रीजंस, क्यों लॉस में जा रही है, वो सब पता करना. प्रीलिम्स के लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि who is the nodal agency, who is the nodal agency for the deciding the disinvestment of these PSC. So yes, DIPAM, which is nothing but the Department for Investment and Public Asset Management, is the nodal agency. Then can they alone work on this? No, sir, they cannot work alone this. They are going to, there will be a joint consultation with the Niti Aayog. They both will decide and identify कि हमें कौन सी companies का करना है. From previous budget to the current budget, कुछ इंक्रीज हुआ है नंबर, हाँ नंबर इंक्रीज हुआ है. सो विद दिस आई विल वाइंड अप माई क्लास बिकॉज इट्स ऑलरेडी 9 o'clock. एंड बस ये देख लो कि कल इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास which 90% are going to schedule on the Thursday, what we are going to see. So till now we have finished all these topics. Okay, क्या क्या हमने फिस्कल पॉलिसी में पढ़ लिया है? स्टेट ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी, स्टेट ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी हमने पढ़ लिया, इसके अंदर हमने ये तीनों चीजें पढ़ ली हैं. ठीक है, दिस 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट for prelims point of view. Okay, then we have studied about the statistical system of India. Here we have studied about NSO, क्या था ये, CSO और इन सब चीजों को मर्ज करके बना है. देन नेशनल कमीशन भी आया, स्टैटिस्टिकल कमीशन आया है. देन 7th इकोनॉमिक सेंसस आया है, दिल्ली ने किया है. ठीक है, सबसे पहले कब हुआ था? 1978 और 4 के अप्रॉक्स हुआ था. देन वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. ये टॉपिक मैंने नेक्स्ट स्लाइड के लिए छोड़ा है. क्यों? सो दैट यू कैन एटलीस्ट हैव अ फेयर आइडिया अबाउट ऑल द टैक्सेस, सो दैट इट विल बी इजी फॉर यू. देन सबका विश्वास क्या है? इट इज मेनली अ काइंड ऑफ अ स्कीम जहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे, हम एमनेस्टी प्रोवाइड करेंगे और हम बेसिकली हम जो डिस्प्यूट्स है उसको रिजॉल्व करने के बारे में बात करेंगे. देन हमने डायरेक्ट टैक्स में देख लिया था कि डायरेक्ट टैक्स में क्या था. एंड देन वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड, जो कि विच इज बेसिकली गोइंग टू सिंप्लीफाई द डायरेक्ट टैक्स इन इंडिया. ओके, डायरेक्ट टैक्स में क्या क्या आता है? इनकम टैक्स आता है, वेल्थ टैक्स आता है, ये सारी चीजें. देन वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट द डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट में क्या था? हमने पढ़ा था कि डिपार्टमेंट, हमारे पास एक डिपार्टमेंट है which with the consultation of the नीति आयोग they are going to identify the company where they are going to do strategic disinvestment. So all these things we have seen today. Fiscal policy is done. Tomorrow we are going to see banking and monetary policy. I mean the day after tomorrow. Here we are going to see monetary policy transmission, economic capital formation. Then we will be seeing of non-banking finance companies, development bank. Acha, what is important here, when you come for the next class, make sure you know what is monetary policy. Okay, then what is CRR, SLR, CAR, then inflation क्या है, deflation क्या है. This is one thing. Another what you need to know, आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए finance कंपनीज क्या है, नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंस कंपनीज क्या क्या है. ओके, RRB, ये सारी चीजें क्या होती हैं. देन बैंक की अगर हम बात करें, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द बैंक इज डिवाइडेड इनटू हाउ मेनी पार्ट्स. ओके, और RBI, बेसिकली RBI क्या है, RBI का काम क्या क्या है. ओके, so all these things, please at least today when you go, just revise all these things so that in the next class we can finish it in the fast manner. Okay, क्योंकि चीजें इतनी ज्यादा इसमें इकोनॉमिक्स में इतने ज्यादा कीवर्ड्स है, अगर हम एक एक कीवर्ड को पकड़ेंगे तो इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंप्लीट एवरीथिंग. दैट्स व्हाई आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन overview and I'm just mainly focusing on the current affairs. So अगर आप अपना काम कर लोगे कीवर्ड का, तो ये आपके लिए इजी हो जाएगा करंट अफेयर समझना. अदरवाइज याद नहीं होगा, एग्जाम में गलत मार्क करके आओगे. सो विद दिस आई विल एंड माय क्लास फॉर टुडे and hope in the next class you will be having a fair idea about all those things which I have mentioned today. So thank you so